Hello and welcome. Today we are ranking Steam survival games by average daily players in September 2023. I've handpicked a bunch of survival games. We're going to go through one by one in order from lowest ranking to highest. As we go through, I'm going to give my opinion on the games that I've played and also my uneducated opinion on the games I haven't played. Feel free to call me out in the comments if you disagree with my opinions and educate me on the games that I haven't played. If there's any survival games you think I've missed from the list, let me know and I can add them next time. Right, let's get into it. The first game on the list is Retreat to Enen with a measly 1.1 average daily players in September. That's pretty terrible, and it's pretty much just me and I guess one other person that's played that game in September. I think it's a real shame that this game hasn't got much recognition. I really like it. The graphics are lovely. It's got 3 nice different biomes. It's got a slightly different twist to it with the whole meditation thing, which is a bit annoying, but it's different. It's got some decent base building. You've got to gather resources. You've got loads of different food to cook. You build your base. You grow your own plants. But it is pretty easy. I like it. I think if you want a nice chilled, easy game just to pick up and play, it's a really nice one to get into and just play. I really hope some more people start playing it. There's an update coming up soon, I think this year. Hopefully it brings a few more players to it. Next up, we got Among Trees. It's a little bit older, released in 2020. I don't know how popular it was back then, but at the moment we're looking at 6.4 average players. I've not played the game. I've watched it on YouTube. It's got really nice sort of arty style graphics that I really like. Again, it's got all the key survival elements, getting your resources, finding your food, dangers from animals. It's got some building in it, not quite as detailed. I think once you build a house, you kind of like put your house down and it's all done. But I think there's quite a lot you can do inside your base. Grow your own plants and everything, all the usual survival elements. But I get the impression there's not a lot to it. It's quite a short game. I think you can finish it quite quickly. In my opinion, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as Retreat to Enen, but there's more players playing it, so maybe there's more to it than I know. But there you go. That's Among Trees, second on our list. Next up, we got Grand Emprise. I'm quite surprised how far down on the list this one is. It's a fairly new game, released this year in July, but it's only got 16.7 average daily players. I've not played it myself. I've seen Just Rob play it on YouTube. And the game seemed to have a lot to it. They seem to have worked really hard on it, especially the fact that because it's a time travel game, there's so many different periods and so many different landscapes and layouts and different biomes they've had to do. And they all look really good. Maybe not all of them, but some of them look amazing. You got the dinosaurs in the early periods. Later on in the game, looks like there's loads of like vehicles you can have and drive around. Some of the architecture, the buildings look great. So the concept looked good. It looked really ambitious. But just after watching it, it just didn't appeal to me. It didn't make me want to play it. And I assume a lot of people are in the same boat. So there we go, it's number 3 on our list. Not much more to say about it. If you've played it and you really like it, let us know. Because I'm surprised. I thought it was just me, but it seems no one else wants to play it either. Next on the list is Survival Fountain of Youth. That's a bit of a jump up. We've gone from 16.7 players to 153.4 average players. Again, it's a fairly new game, released this year in April. I honestly have no knowledge on this game at all, so I can't really give much of an opinion. I've not even watched it. I've not researched it. I mean, looking at this trailer that we've got on in the background, the graphics look nice. Looks like a nice game. Looks like you've got everything you want and need from a general survival game. It looks pretty decent to me. There's so many survival games out there. Is it really one that I'm going to have a go at? I don't think so. The only thing I can say about it is that I've seen recently Neebs Gaming did a ranking of their favourite survival games that they've played, and this one came pretty low down on the list. But yeah, that's all I can say about it. Have you played it? Let us know if you think it's decent and if you think it deserves more players playing it. Next up is Subsistence with 250.1 average players, and it's a game from 2016, so it's the oldest game on the list so far. Still people playing it. Again, it's one I've not played. Again, I've watched Just Rob play it, and from what I've seen from this trailer and from watching Rob, for a 2016 game, I think graphically it looks quite nice in some areas, and some other areas it does look a little bit dated. It kind of looks like the world is a bit samey, like it seemed very open, just open land, but then that was the early game. I can't really say what it was like when you get further in. And yeah, Just Rob wasn't that keen on it. And it looked quite hard. He died a lot of times starting off in that game, which, you know, I'd like to say he's quite a good gamer, definitely compared to me. And he seemed to struggle. I definitely liked the animation when the bear killed him. That was pretty funny. But other than that, not much more of an opinion from me. It's 5th on our list. Let's keep going. Next up we have No One Survived with 353.9 average players. This game was released early this year, January I think. This is one I have played. Now to start off with, I really like the graphics. It's clearly done in Unreal Engine 5. I think the thing I really liked about it was the water on the floor just looked really good. Some quite satisfying zombie kills, but there was a lot of things that really annoyed me about it early on in the game. I think there was something about when you're crafting your planks, you had to be waiting for them to craft at your workstation. You couldn't walk away and leave them. There was quite a few glitches. I found the tutorial really stupid, so it put me off a little bit early on, so I didn't really give it much of a chance. Obviously there's still people playing it, so I think it could be a decent game, but I didn't like it enough to wait for the updates. I'm sure they fixed those issues that I've had since then, but yeah, it wasn't one that I was willing to wait for the updates and keep giving it a go. The building felt quite generic, although it had quite a lot of options, and I really didn't like the fact that you were stuck in third person view and you couldn't go in first person unless you were aiming down your gun or shooting. That's when you go into first person. I really wanted the option to change that up again. They might have changed that by now. So yeah, other than the graphics, I wasn't really a fan, but I think 353 daily players is a decent number, so people like it. Next up is Stranded Deep, 383.3 average players. Stranded Deep was released in 2015. I'm going to be really biased here because it's the first survival game I ever played, and it got me into survival games, so I kind of base every survival game I play around this one. And for me, being a rubbish gamer, Stranded Deep is the perfect difficulty level for me. It took me a little while to learn it, but once you've learned it, it's not hard at all. The variety of crafting, dangers, weapons, different types of food, different ways to heal yourself, is kind of enough for me to kind of have a nice, chilled, enjoyable experience. Graphically, I love the graphics. You know, there are bits of it that's pretty awful, but the sea looks lovely, the sunrises are awesome. From a distance, everything looks lovely. You know, it was made in 2015. It's a shame they haven't done more of it and continue to update it and add more to the actual game, because the islands are very samey, but really what makes the game continue to be playable is the modding community and the custom islands. So you see in the background here, I'm playing custom island, and that's what's kept the game going. The custom islands are awesome. But I enjoy the building in the game. I've had some really good fun building without any mods. I've had fun trying to do speed runs on it. There's an end game, so you've got something to work towards. You've got the multiplayer ability, which isn't great, but it works, and I've had a lot of fun in multiplayer with it. And still, 383 players are still playing it, and it's what started my YouTube channel. So yeah, I love Stranded Deep. I wouldn't say it's the best survival game, but it suits me and I like it. Number 8 on our list is Subnautica Below Zero, with a bit of a jump up to 930.9 average players per day. Again, this is another game I've not played. I've watched Robert Monkey play it and he loves it. He loves both this and Subnautica. I was surprised that this was, you know, fairly low compared to Subnautica, which you'll see later on in the video. This being the newer out of the two, I thought it would be higher, but a good player count, and to me the game does look really good. I'm tempted to play it. Like the graphics, like the biomes, like all the cool quirky undersea animals and stuff. There seems to be quite a lot to the game. Seems to have quite a good storyline. But yeah, I've not played it, but it looks good. I think it's on my list of to play. Next up, number 9 is The Long Dark. Again, a bit of a jump, and we're in the thousands now. It's 1,558.3 average players per day. This is an old one, released 2014, so it's doing really well to still have this many players. I guess, you know, are there updates? I don't know a lot about it. I have played this one, but this is not my own footage because this is the first survival game I played on PC. So I already said the first ever survival game I played was Stranded Deep. That was on console, and I was trying to decide at the time whether to go over to PC or not. I had a standard laptop. I tried playing Stranded Deep on it couldn't cope, so I searched for other survival games. The Long Dark was there. It was really cheap, so this is the one I bought first for that laptop. My laptop copes okay with it, so it was more playable, so I gave it a go, but it was quite grueling to start off with. Like I said before, I quite like a more of an easy ride in a game, and it was definitely harder than Stranded Deep. But what I've heard about this one is it's like a really, really good survival game. I've heard there's a great storyline to it, and I didn't get that far. I feel like it is a classic survival game that needs to be played if you like survival games. But again, I don't know much about it. Let me know what you think about it. Should I play it? I feel like I should. Next up, Green Hell. 2,182.8 average players per day. Released in late 2018, and I have played Green Hell. There's quite a lot of Green Hell content on my channel, but I kind of gave up the series in the end. I think it's a great game. For me, maybe a little bit complex. Mainly with there's so many different injuries you can get and different ways of healing those different injuries, so many different sort of food requirements, like you got fats, carbs, obviously thirst. I can't remember what else there was, but there was quite a lot of different things and you need to find different foods to get all of those stats up. You got your sanity stat, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think there's quite a lot to it to actually just generally survive and stay alive. The building is a bit grindy, but cool. There's a clear storyline to it, which is good. Graphically, it's awesome. I honestly think it's a great game, actually, and quite a lot of people still playing it. Every now and then I think about going back to it. Yeah, about the enemies, you've got quite a lot of different enemies, like a real good range of really good dangerous animals. Snakes, spiders, caimans, jaguars, loads of stuff. And then you've also got the tribes people, and the AI is pretty good. One thing missing from it that would be great is, I guess, raft building, but I know you're kind of stuck on one kind of like rainforest rather than islands. I mean, there is water in it, so maybe you could sail around it or something, but yeah, that's one thing that would be quite cool to add. But yeah, Green Hell. It's definitely got my thumbs up. Number 11 on the list is Subnautica with 2,739.7 players. This is the first game in the Subnautica series, but it's still got 3 times the amount of players as Subnautica Below Zero. As with Below Zero, I've never played it. I've only watched Robert Monkey play it and he loved both of the games. But going by the player stats, it seems this one is still more popular. I've not got much more to say about it, similar to Below Zero. It looks great. It's on my list that I probably should play. But yeah, I'd say everything I said about Below Zero applies to this one too. They seem pretty similar, just a slightly different take on the game. Next up is Grounded with 2,834.4 average players. Personally, I wish Grounded was higher up on the list. I feel like more people should be playing it, especially with this year. They had the final 1.0 release, I think it was this year, where they had finished all the updates. This game has so much to it, and I have played this game and I love it. If I was doing a ranking of survival games, in my opinion, this would be up there as one of the best, if not the best. Graphically, it's amazing. There's so much to it. The creatures are amazing, like the spiders are so scary and they're just so good. All of the other bugs, there's so many bugs in it now after all of the updates. The biome is amazing. The back garden's got so many different areas to it. It's so interesting, so much to explore. Building's amazing. Yeah, there's just so much to the game. There's a proper story mode to it as well. The only reason I haven't carried on playing it so much or put too much on my channel is, for me, it's too complicated. I want to play this game with someone else. It needs to be multiplayer, because then I can kind of work together with someone. We could discuss what do we need to do, because there's so many different things you need to collect to level up. You need to research things to get the better tools to be able to do this, then do that, and different animals you really can't fight until you've got the better weapons. But yeah, I think this is a great game. I need to get back into it. I've started playing again multiplayer with a mate. Haven't been recording it, just having fun with it. I've seen some people, videos on YouTube where they've really gone far into the game and they've done so much, some really cool builds. Yeah, great game in my opinion. What do you think? I feel like more people should still be playing this one. Right, number 13 is The Forest with 3,071.9 players. I have played The Forest. I'm actually quite surprised when I was researching for this that The Forest was released in 2014, so before Stranded Deep, which makes me even more impressed with the game because it is a great game. The graphics are pretty good, but actually now that Sons of the Forest is released, looking back at The Forest, it does look pretty dated because Sons of the Forest graphically is amazing, but the actual game concept is great. Some really great enemies in it. I mean, it's really not my sort of thing. I enjoyed it, but I'm not really a fan of fighting sort of mutants and things like that. I kind of like a bit more realism. But then saying that, I've just said that I love Grounded, where I'm a little man fighting spiders and ants, but you know, they're real. There's something about fantasy, zombie, creepy things that I don't really like in a game, so that's just my opinion. Other than that, it's a great game. Yeah, the survival elements are great. Building, a little bit grindy, but it's pretty cool. Quite flexible. Good storyline. Yeah, all in all, the Forest is a decent survival game, and it's in the top half of our list here, so people still like it. Next up is Icarus, with 3,190.3 average players. Icarus was released December 2021. I was really excited about this one because it looked amazing, like graphically it looked really good. So I jumped straight onto it, and I was a bit disappointed. It was great graphically, I really liked the look of it, and I thought the building was cool, but there was something I didn't like about it. Again, I think for me it was the more futuristic element I didn't really like, but I could get over that because the actual biome that you started in didn't feel too futuristic. You know, had normal animals you had to kill. It seemed quite cool, but I started off finding it really grindy. I struggled finding water for the first time. I got dumped into the middle of nowhere. You can't see the map until you've been over it. It like opens up as you walk around, and I just couldn't find water. I kept dying. Then I got to the point where I could find water. Then I needed to make my bed to be able to sleep, and it was pitch black at night time, so you really did need to sleep. And I needed like a ridiculous amount of leather or something. I needed to kill deers, and I needed to kill so many deers. I found that really hard. So it kind of put me off, but that was right at the start. I think, you know, they've probably done loads of updates since then. I think maybe they've done a major update, and there's a few YouTubers picking it back up and playing it, and it does still look lovely. The building looks great. I think it's something I want to give another chance. I'm still not sure if I quite like the overall concept of the storyline. I guess I don't really understand what the storyline is, but it's kind of spacey, futuristic-y. But yeah, it's obviously still quite popular, and I'm going to give it another go, I think. Right, number 15 on the list is Sons of the Forest, with a bit of a jump up here to 5,583.1 average players. Sons of the Forest released earlier this year in February, I think. Still with regular updates, so the game is still improving and getting updated. I have played the game. I played it a fair bit, and I liked it. It's good. It's definitely an improvement on the Forest, so the graphics I thought were amazing. Gameplay's good, the story's good, the enemies are good. Building looks nice. It's not great, but I quite liked it. And at first I really liked the way they've got all these like cool animations for everything. So when you're building and you're chopping a log, the animations are really good, but I think once you really get into playing it, it tends to get a bit tedious and it slows you down. But yeah, I've seen some people build some really cool stuff. They must have a lot of patience to be able to do that. Unless obviously you use the sort of dev console cheat commands, cheat stick, and you can have a lot of fun if you do that in the game. So I think a lot of my time has just been messing around with things like that and having fun, rather than really playing the game as it should be played. But yeah, I'd say great game. I can see why it's got that many players still playing it, and it's continually updating, so it should have a good community playing it for a little while longer. Next up we have Raft, with 6,686.3 average players. I've never played Raft, and to be honest, I was never really that interested in even giving it a chance, because I thought it looked pretty basic, and you know, you're stuck on a boat, just building a boat, and there wasn't much to it. But I've recently watched quite a bit more of it on YouTube, and I'm now really keen to play it. I think it looks like a great game. There's so much more to it than I thought there was. I quite like the cartoony style to it. I think it looks cool what you can build on your raft. Like, you can build a pretty awesome raft, and then you're not actually restricted to the raft. There seems to be so many islands that you go to as well to collect resources and do different things, do the story mode, all sort of dangers and enemies to fight. And yeah, so it was released 2018, so 5-ish years old, and still got more players than the likes of Sons of the Forest, Grounded, some other sort of newer, I'd say big survival games. So yeah, I'm really keen to play Raft now. I think it's on my list as a definite. I'm going to give that one a go. Right, number 17 on our list is Sunken Land, with 7,504.3 average players. Now, September is the first full month that Sunken Land has been out, so it'll be very interesting to see if it drops down the list in future months, because yeah, being the first month, a lot of interest in it, so there's a lot of players. I'm hoping it keeps this up because I think it deserves it. I'm really enjoying it. It's a great game. Graphics are a bit clunky here and there. I've heard people say they think the sea looks really nice, but I think the Stranded Deep sea looks much nicer. But the concept of the game is brilliant, so all the sunken world under the sea does look great, and it's really cool. There seems to be quite a lot to it, but I like the way they ease you into it, in that when you start off, you can start off crafting the lower things, then you research things, rather than just having everything in front of you straight away and not knowing where to start. It kind of does take you through it in a nice little order to help you out. I've enjoyed the building so far. I've enjoyed the combat, kind of. Sometimes it's a bit, like I'm not sure about the AI. I'm sure the aim on the crossbow is dodgy, but it's probably just me. Had a few crashes here and there, there's a few glitches, but it's brand new, they're still updating it. But yeah, great game, really enjoying it at the moment, and I'm going to keep playing it, and hopefully many others will do too. Okay, next we have Conan Exiles, released in 2017, so it's a fair few years old. It's got 7,661.5 average players at the moment. I know nothing about this game. It's classed as a survival game, but looking at the trailer that we got on here in the background, I'm not sure if I really would categorise it as a proper survival game. But again, having not played it, I can't really comment on that. I've watched a little bit of Neebs Gaming playing it. I think I've just watched like one episode and not too interested in it for me. But yeah, it's got a lot of players, so it must be pretty good. But really, not much for me to say about it, other than it doesn't really interest me that much. But it's number 18 on our list. We've only got 4 more games left, so it's in the top 5, but the next few games the player stats really do jump up. Okay, next up we have Scum with 13,107.5 average players. Scum was released in 2018, so it's still doing pretty well after 5 years. I haven't played it, so I don't know a lot about it. I've seen a little bit and it does look like quite a good game. I think it does have all the main survival elements. I have a feeling there's quite a lot to this one, but again, I'm really not sure. It looks like it's one that would appeal to me because I have a feeling it's not like zombies or mutants. But again, I could be wrong. I feel like it's just got a bit more realism to it. I don't know. I really don't know. If anyone can let me know in the comments, tell me a little bit more about this game. But it's always been on my list as one I feel like I should play, and I guess the fact that it's still got 13,000 players every day means it's pretty good. So I think I might have to give it a go. Wow, it's in the top 4 of our list, so maybe it's a must. Okay, next on the list is 7 Days to Die. A big jump up in players, 25,135.8 average players. This game has been out for ages, so 10 years I think now, so 2013 initial release. Lots of updates to it, so I guess if you looked back at the original release, the original alpha, it looks nowhere near as good as the current one. So Alpha 21 was released not too long ago, so they keep the game pretty fresh. Now it took me a long time to even start playing this one. I think mainly because the graphics always put me off initially, but now the graphics actually don't look that bad. In some cases they're pretty good, and because like I've said before, I'm not really a fan of things like zombies and stuff, so I never thought I'd like it. But I love this game, I think it's great. I mean, for me it's quite complicated. I never play it on my own. Kind of like I said about Grounded, I want to be with other people, you know, to kind of rely on them a bit and get them to support me through it. Because I just don't have the patience when I'm playing a game. I don't have hours and hours of gaming time, so I don't want to start from scratch on my own trying to learn how to play these games. Especially this, because I think it's quite complicated when you first get going. I think I'm nearly there though. I reckon I could do a solo playthrough on my own and do quite well. I'll die a lot, but I'll know what I'm doing. But yeah, the concept's great. Every 7 days, zombie horde comes, you got to prepare for it. I really like the building your cool horde bases, loads of different weapons and stuff, loads of crafting, loads of things to cook and farm, and yeah, it's good. There's loads of stuff to do in it. I always wonder what the end game is though, you know, when do you stop playing it? Just when you get bored, or can you actually finish it? I have a feeling if you use like the Darkness Falls mod or something like that, there's more of a story to it, but even then I'm not too sure. But yeah, this really deserves to be up there, so it's number 3 on the list, so we've got 2 games with more players playing it out of the games we've selected for this list. But yeah, 7 Days to Die is great, I love it. Right, next up and second from the top spot is Ark Survival Evolved with 36,107.4 average players a day in September. Now Ark was initially released in June 2015, so it's been out quite a while. I don't really know a lot about it. I think it's evolved quite a lot since then. Clearly a lot of players are playing it. I mean, it's definitely a survival game, so it deserves to be on the list. Personally, I don't really like the look of it. It doesn't seem like my sort of game. Too much, I guess, fantasy involved. I don't know. The graphics don't excite me. The concept of fantasy monsters, dinosaurs, all that doesn't really excite me. Sorry, I know dinosaurs aren't fantasy, but they are fantasy monsters apart from the dinosaurs. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't given it a go, so I can't really comment, but it hasn't jumped out at me as one that I want to try. But well, it's second on our list, so, you know, I'm clearly wrong. A lot of players love it and are still playing it, and it's number 2 on our list. Okay, number 1 on the list with a huge 69,292.4 players every day in September on average. Again, Rust was released a long time ago, 2015. I don't know a lot about Rust again. It is classed as a survival game, but when I've seen videos of it, I don't know, it doesn't look like a survival game to me. I think you do have to, you know, survive from starvation, thirst and the usual things like that, so maybe it is. I think you have to build your bases. So yeah, I guess it is. But really, it's a shame I can't say a lot about the number 1 game, because I really don't know much about it. I've watched a bit of it every now and then, more just like small clips, like shorts. I've never watched a full video being played. And most of the time these clips are of people like trolling other people. It seems like one of those games where people like to mess with other people. I think you get on like big servers and then people just go around pissing people off. I don't know, that's just my really terrible, uneducated view on this game. So clearly a lot of players, I mean this is nearly double of the number 2 spot, so it's a huge game, hugely popular. So yeah, let me know, have you played it? Do you enjoy it? What's it all about? Should I play it? Well, there we go, Rust, number 1 on the list. So here's our final graph. Sorry it's a bit of a rubbish graph, but it shows you all 22 games we've just discussed, ranked from Retreat to Enen with 1.1 was it players, average players a day in September, all the way to Rust, so getting on to nearly 70,000 players a day. So really the last 3 really jump up from the rest. You know, I might come back and revisit, because it'll be interesting to see after a few months what's changed. Games like Sunken Land that are really new, you know, is it going to stay up there in the 5th, was it, 6th spot, or will it start to drop down? If there's any other survival games that I've missed that you think are worthwhile going on the list, let me know. And are there any games on this list that you don't deem as survival games that shouldn't really have been here? Anyway, that's it for now. But yeah, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next video.